Hi everyone, I'm Dan from Sadhana Yoga. Thanks so much for tuning in to our video about using the Neti pot and Nasya oils for a daily routine of nasal irrigation. Yeah, so what is nasal irrigation? What is Neti? It is a kriya, a yogic cleansing practice done to get the mucus, get the germs, get all the gunk out of our nose and into the sink, or for today's case, this big silver wash basin. All right, so it's a very simple routine, really. It was traditionally done with a piece of cloth, which sounds very uncomfortable. Apparently it's not. I've yet to try it. But what they did would be to put a piece of cloth out the nose, one out the mouth, and they would literally floss the nasal cavity through one nostril down to the mouth. Then they do the other side and get the full routine there. Luckily for us, some magnificent, smart, intelligent, very kind person made the Neti pot. And what is so great about the Neti pot is that with a very simple salt water solution, you could wash out the nose, and it's actually very comfortable. It's almost like giving yourself a nasal massage. So in today's video, I'm going to try to keep it relatively short. I'll pass over a lot of salient points, but they are on the website, sadhananj.com. If you go to the description section below, somewhere down there, I'm not quite sure where I am in reference to the frame of the YouTube video, but somewhere down there will be the link to the website. We'll give a lot of answers to frequently asked questions, a lot of salient and important points about the Neti practice. And if you love seeing me in this animated form so much, then we could do a follow-up video where we'll talk more about these actual, other points, such as, what kind of water should I use, what kind of salt should I use. We'll go into today how often we should use it, but there'll be a lot more of a discussion with that as well. So any questions you have, any comments, there's the YouTube comment section, there's our website comment section. Just please reach out to us. Do not be shy, and we will be delighted and happy and exuberant, and we'll make our day. It'll be the best thing ever if you comment and let us know how you like the video, what you learned, what you didn't learn, and what you'd like to learn. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with using the Neti pot. All right, so with the Neti pot, I have here Neti salt. So Neti salt's really great in that it's a very fine type of salt, and that it comes with these little spoons that are perfect sizes for the Neti pot. So the spoons take up about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which is a perfect amount of salt for the Neti pot. The Neti pot, it has about a cup of water capacity. All right, so you just want to take a spoonful of the salt here and just pour it into the Neti pot. Easy as that. And then with the Neti pot, you want to fill it mostly with water. What I have here is pre-boiled water. It's cooled down to a normal temperature. The temperature you want is one which is, let's say, like a warm shower. So not a hot shower, one that you could dip your finger into it. It'd be nice, but not one that's going to be making soup out of your nasal passageway. All right? So even cooler than like a hot tub. Think that way. Just nice, warm shower. So you want to fill up the Neti pot about 3/4 of the way full. I will explain why 3/4 of the way in 2 seconds. And 2 seconds are up. Time for the answer. So what you want to do here is mix the salt in completely. You want a homogeneous solution. You want the salt to be equally distributed throughout the entire solution. So what I'm going to do is just close up the holes of the Neti pot, give it a shake, give it a little twist. You can play the Beatles in the background, and that is always a great thing to do. The Beatles at any time is a great thing to listen to. So now I've shaken this guy up pretty vigorously. The salt is evenly distributed, and we get to get started right here. So before I actually start pouring the fluid through a nostril, I need to figure out which nostril to start with. So there's one rule of thumb, and that's start with the right at night, left in the morning. But since it's about 3 p.m. and neither the morning nor the night, I have to figure out what to do. And how will I do that? I'm going to start with the more open nostril. So as you may or may not know, there's always one nostril which is more open than the other, and every about 90 to 120 minutes it changes. So I'm going to just discover first which nostril is open. And what I did there is I just closed one nostril, breathe through one, close the other nostril, saw which one is more open. So right now, I'm actually transitioning, but my right is still a little bit more open. So I'm going to stick the nozzle into my right nostril, tilt my head neither back nor forward, just tilting it, and then just let the water run through. And I'm going to shut my mouth and breathe through my mouth, and we'll overdub any other salient points right now. You know, the magnificence of video editing, right? All right, so tilt your head with the crown and the chin level and allow the water to pass through the nostrils just like so. So keep the mouth open the entire process of neti and allow yourself to breathe through the mouth. If you stop breathing through the mouth, the flow through the nostrils may be inhibited. So neti is a practice. It will take time to perfect, it will take time to master, and to get that water flowing readily each time. If you find that it's difficult to get that water passing on through, then just use the power of your imagination to allow yourself to visualize the water passing through the nostrils. You may be pleasantly surprised by the results. So when you finish and the pot's empty, allow yourself to snort through the nose just like so. So what may happen every now and then is if you tilt your head back, some of the water may run into your mouth. If that happens, just try to spit it out. Try not to swallow it because it will be full of mucus. And for the same reason that your parents told you not to eat your boogers, it's the same reason not to swallow that liquid. If you swallow it, it's not a big deal. You have stomach acids and protection right here to take care of it. It's not a big amount. And so that's one side right there. You don't want to blow very vigorously out of your nostrils when you finish as well. What will happen if you do that, especially if you close one nostril then the other, is with that closed nostril, the water will get shot right on up. And then for one, it may be a little bit painful, like when you inhale a lot of water when you're swimming. And for two, it'll stick in your upper nasal passageway. And you may notice 20, 30, 40 minutes later, all this water just starts gushing on out. And if you're on a very, important first date, or if you're at an important business meeting, or if you're at a yoga class, doing an inversion, then it's never a thrilling thing to see, copious amounts of liquid flow from your nostrils. So that's a head up right there. All right, so all I'm going to do right now is repeat the steps, previously described and do the other side. That simple. So I'm going to place some salt into my neti pot right here. And so one of the reasons that we do a salt water solution is because our body is a saline substance. Our tears, our mucus, our blood, it all has a certain amount of salt to it. And our body recognizes that amount of salt. If we were to pour fresh water into our nose, then what we'll find is that it'll burn a little bit, it'll hurt a little bit. So it's one of the reasons why when you're swimming in the ocean, it's so easy to open your eyes, right? But if you're in a highly chlorinated pool, or if you're swimming in a freshwater lake, when you open your eyes, it kind of burns a little bit, same reason. So just using that salt water solution with the proper amount of salt, that little teaspoon that they provide here, with a neti pot, really makes it an easy transition right on through. It's actually very comfortable. It may look very strange and goofy, but I assure you, try it and you will be hooked. So just shaking out this water a bit. Some people like to mix it, use a spoon. I like to shake it because shaking is a lot of fun. Sometimes I pretend it's a tambourine or one of those, shaker instruments, and I make music with it, and I stand there shaking for a couple hours and then need to refill up that water. I've never done that. I don't know why I said that, but I thought it would be a good story to share. All right, so let's do the other side right here. So what exactly is happening when we use the neti pot? So it's clear that the saltwater solution floods through one nostril, travels to where each nostril's air passageway meets, and then exits out the opposite nostril. So in this process, all the mucus which contains pollutants, harmful bacteria, and allergens is flushed right out of the sinuses. In addition to this, the cilia,
those little tiny hairs that line the inside of your nostrils, these combine to become the primary nasal defense system. So when you use the neti pot, these cilia are cleaned and synchronized as to function better. So all in all, the neti pot not only cleans, but also augments your defenses.
All right, so that's the whole neti part of the procedure. And you'd be really surprised to see what comes out when you're working over running water or into a sink. You don't really see what's gathered there. Right now I have a highlight collection of what was being stored in my nostrils. So, if you're brave and you're curious to see what you're packing in there, then I recommend taking a wash basin and trying it in there, and then you'll see, holy gunk, look at all that junk. Rhyming right there. All right, so next, Nasya. So why are we doing Nasya? Isn't doing this neti enough? So one of the things that happens with using the neti pot is that when the water dries up, we still have that salt solution, and that's going to absorb the mucus away from our nasal cavity. There is a slight mucousy quality to the nasal cavity. That way everything flows, it protects the nostrils. So we don't want it to dry up too much. So we do this Nasya. All Nasya is using oil to moisturize the nasal passageway. And that's gonna, counter any of the damage that the neti can do. Combining them together is a wonderful, holistic tool. So there's a few things to mention right here very quickly in terms of what to use in terms of oil. Anything that you put into your nose has to be high quality. We cannot have any impurities in there because we don't have the antibodies and enzymes that our stomach has to protect our nostrils. So in terms of the oil, right now I'm using high quality organic sesame oil, the same kind that you can find at your local Whole Foods or natural grocer. You could also use ghee. That's another great option. Ghee is especially good in the summer season if you have high pitta, or if you notice that you're starting to break out with acne or blackheads or anything around the nose, the ghee will be very good for containing that. The oil, again, sesame oil, you can use other organic, high-quality oils, experiment, see what works for you. If you have organic essential oils and an organic base oil, organic is very important. You can combine the two together, and then you could be walking around with the sweet, sweet smells of lavender or rose or patchouli forest or whatever suits your fancy. So there's two ways to apply the Nasya, and I'll demonstrate both right now. One is to use a dropper, like I have right here. And so the dropper is nice in that you could feel like you're a chemist and you're doing a chemistry experiment. It's not my preferred way, but it is for many people. And a lot of oil bottles are smaller and they contain a dropper inside. This is a dropper that I purchased from a science supply store. Got a huge bag of these for, I think, $2. So they're very economical. And you could reuse them if you reuse them well. All right, so all I'm going to do is just take in. Sometimes you'll have a bit of a drip from the neti. Not really a big deal. Nothing's in there. I promise that nothing's going to gush out. All right. So then I'm going to absorb a little bit of the oil right here. And all I'm going to do is turn my head up and then pour 2 to 5 drops into my nostril. Doesn't matter which one you start with. Okay. All right, so you may have noticed that I tapped my nostril. What I did there is I just spread the oil around the inside. It's kind of a natural movement. After you do it, you'll want to do it on your own anyway. A little bit of the oil spilt, so I just wiped it away. That easy. So now one side is done. Feels great there. The method number 2 is my preferred method. It is a really great way to do this as well, but may not be the best way to show your non-believing friends about this product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my very clean, shiny, squeaky pinky, and I'm going to just dip it in the oil here. And then I'm going to just apply it to the inside of my left nostril. There we go. So that gives me every good reason to pick my nose, and I'm doing it for the sake of my health. All right? And so there we are. It's the full routine. Take a few breaths when you finish. It feels wonderful. It feels great. You could smell the roses from a mile away. That I feel I should have a disclaimer that may not be true, but you could smell a lot better. The senses are really heightened in the best possible way. Breathing becomes very comfortable, very natural, and a very wonderful thing. And the neti is awesome for any respiratory illnesses ranging from bronchitis, asthma, to allergies. So we have a fuller list of benefits of neti on our website. We have, types of water, types of oil to use on the website, and a more in-depth discussion about how often you should use the neti pot on the website. But right now, I will just end by saying, aim for at least once every other day. Do not exceed twice per day. That will be a very good point. That'll keep your nose clean without making you depend on this, external source to have everything run its course. So that's everything for today. If you have any other questions at all, please let us know. I hope you learned something, or at least enjoyed watching me pick my nose. That is all for today. Hey, have a great one. Thanks so much.